Mr. Nimit Soni, Director, Virtual MNC. Our moderator is Mr. Naveen Seth. Good afternoon, all distinguished guests and learned audience on behalf of PHD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. First of all, please allow me to express my heartfelt appreciation to all our sponsors, starting AS Professional Advisory Limited UK and our supporting partners, Damak Properties Dubai, Krypton Global Investments, franchisee at 360 Realtors LLP, Sterling Finance UK Limited, and Virtual MNC in organizing this interactive session on much talked about subject in the current market scenario. Due to the pandemic, the overall international investments has taken a big hit, but at the same time, the future seems to be very promising. The world witnessed an increase of 31,000 ultra-high net worth individuals in 2019, taking the total number of such people, those with a net worth of $30 million or more, to 513,200 as per the Knight Frank Wealth Report for 2020. This translates into a 6.4% jump over the year 2018. India ranks 12th and had 5,986 such individuals in 2019, which is likely to reach 10,354 by the year 2024. The number of billionaires in India, on the other hand, is likely to reach 113 by 2024, up from 104 in 2019. Amongst asset classes, Indian UHNWIs are most aggressive in equity investment, with 72% willing to invest in this asset class compared to a global average of 29%. Asia is quickly closing the gap on Europe, and it is predicted that by 2024, it will be the world's second largest wealth hub with forecast 5-year growth of 44%. Of the top 20 fastest growing countries, 6 are located in Asia, led by India with 73% growth, 5 in Europe, led by Sweden with 47% growth, and 3 are in Africa, led by Egypt with 66% growth. Wealth creation in 2020 will be an uphill task as UHNWIs expect political and economic challenges, including a global economic slowdown, trade wars, and political tension to weigh on their ability. A resident individual is permitted to use the annual LRS limit to invest in foreign companies, which can then purchase property abroad. Investment by an individual in a foreign company is subject to certain additional conditions. Indian residents are investing in international properties for appreciation in value, end use, or rental earnings. The stability of the Indian rupee and relaxation of fiat rules that permit Indian residents to invest overseas have further created an investment climate favorable for international real estate. Indian residents are able to purchase property abroad through a number of different routes. Each of these routes is subject to differing legal conditions and has differing tax implications both in India and the foreign country. Purchasing property abroad therefore requires a certain amount of structuring to ensure that foreign property investments are both legal and tax efficient. Indian investment in property overseas is becoming increasingly common these days. This trend owes much to the fact that overseas property has now become much more affordable for Indians. With many Indians finding their families scattered across the globe, many Indians are also buying properties abroad in order to visit their near and dear ones more easily. 29 years since the liberalization of the Indian economy in 1991, there has been a clear uptick in the inflow of foreign investments into India. Simultaneously, more and more Indians are seeking to expand their horizons and make investments outside the country. At the end, I would also request and recommend all the investors to practice due diligence before making any decision regarding taking up any international investment in international real estate, as PHD Chamber of Commerce and Industry shall not be liable for any decision or action taken by you based on or relying on the information provided in or by the presenter or the panelists during the GRE live webinar. With this, I would like to leave it with the experts from the industry to take things further in explaining the benefits of different options available for citizenship in different parts of the world. Thank you and wish you all a very fruitful and meaningful interaction. Stay healthy. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Vice President Sir, for setting the agenda for today's webinar. So to take this further now, I would like to start with Ms. Mona Jalota, who is the founding principal for Krypton Global Investments. I would invite her to share her views on this. And just to give you a brief background about Ms. Mona, she is a promising woman entrepreneur. Founder and MD, is a passionate entrepreneur and a seasoned leader with over a decade of experience in her domain of marketing international real estate in India. Mona has been making waves in this sector and has held senior management positions in major corporate giants like Dandara, UK, Knight Frank India, Coldwell Banker India, Colliers International, and a luminous of INSEAD. Mona counts strategy and business development as her key skills. Her self-funded startup, Krypton Global Investment KGI, is uniquely dedicated Indian platform designed to showcase international properties, migrations, and investment opportunities. So I present to you Ms. Mona Jalota.
Thank you, Naveenji, for the very, very kind introduction. We are in very strange, opportunistic times. Even though economies around the world are facing challenges and struggles, for an investor, every challenge is an opportunity. I think the Indian market over the last, and I have been doing this for over 10 years now, and I have seen a lot of maturity of thought coming into the Indian investor psyche. Even though we cannot compete with the 72% of Indians preferring to invest in equity, the international real estate market has understood that the need of the ultra HNI in India is liquidity. Gains and liquidity is a very healthy balance for any portfolio, which is why many Indians prefer to invest in equity. Now, there's a maturity of thought that is coming in, which is understanding that diversification of a portfolio is important. It's important to have your monies in different economies, in different markets, to ensure that you're hedging your bets, you're hedging the risk, you're understanding that if something doesn't perform here, something else may perform somewhere else. So that maturity of thought is coming in. Even this whole concept of international investments and passports for global mobility, which was earlier limited only to the very few wealthy families in India, is now becoming an increasingly popular phenomena with the upper middle class and the middle class Indians as well, because they are realizing that if it is purely property, then property is much more cheaper overseas. Structuring of property to get leveraging, to get interesting amenities, areas, future appreciation for the benefit of children studying abroad. All these make compelling reasons. The investors who are sitting on the fence, who are not sure about the liquidity aspect of owning a property overseas, are now preferring to put their monies and their investments into REIT funds which are coming in from abroad. These funds offer a very liquid and a very healthy way of exploring the international real estate phenomena and making some good returns and also having valid liquidity. The second vertical which has seen a major upswing is your citizenship via investment or permanent residencies that are available across the world via investment. Increasingly, people who are putting money in property are wanting the additional benefit of having an option to either get a permanent residency or to migrate globally along with their investment. So that also is becoming a very interesting phenomenon. So yes, even though COVID-19 has struck all of us, and people are still figuring out where they want to put their money, I do feel that this is a very growing field of investments, and we will see much more of this happening with Indian investors, and we will see a lot of players from overseas also approaching the Indian investors with tailor-made solutions, keeping the tax in mind, keeping the legalities in mind, keeping the LRS schemes in mind. Initially, when it was us adapting to the world, now the world has realized the power of Indian investors. and we will see a lot more customized products coming up. So yes, I remain quite hopeful for this sector in the coming days.
Thank you, Monaji, for sharing your views. And I think we have attendees. We will have certain questions. We have the question answer session. So to take this further now, I would now invite Mr. Sahil Kapoor, who is the national head franchisee at 360 Realtors LLP. So just to give you a brief about Sahil, Sahil is an MBA in sales and marketing with more than a decade of experience in real estate sector. He has been internationally awarded for his contribution in the field of franchise consultancy. He has got a Six Sigma Green Belt certification by BSI and is also certified by Redco Institute of Real Estate Management. Being a real estate professional, Sahil believes in a continuous learning and knowledge upgradation. He has successfully completed few international courses like Accredited Buyers Representative ABR and Certified Residential Specialist CRS. Sahil is also the ex-honorable secretary of the Association of Property Professionals, which is in Delhi NCR chapter of the National Association of Realtors India, NAR India. In his previous assignment, he was responsible for setting up and building RE Max network in India. So I present to you Mr. Sahil Kapoor.
Thank you, Naveen ji, for such an elaborate introduction. When we talk about international real estate, I think in the last decade or so, I think a lot of investors have finally explored and realized that yes, there is a place other than our home country also that we can invest in. Because prior to this last decade, people were really wary of investing abroad, and a lot of information was not there. I think with the emergence of certain IPCs in the country, with the emergence of certain organized real estate brokers in the country, and especially I think all credit to, as Mona rightly said, to DMAC, because they have probably, I think, created that impact in the market and made people realize that yes, international real estate investment is not a very, very distinct dream. Also, I think there was a lot of confusion with regards to investors in terms of their mind. Can we really invest abroad? What is the kind of money that we have to go? And people usually thought that there'll be a lot of money which we'll have to put in if we think of investing abroad. But I think in the last 5 years or so, people have realized largely that Indian real estate, in comparison to international real estate, in terms of pricing, we are almost at par. In fact, some of the major markets like Mumbai, Bangalore, I'm talking about the main CBDs, some of the major markets like Delhi, I would say they are more expensive than even international investments. The biggest reason why people have looked at international markets, one is diversification, because as a prudent businessman, nobody would want to put all their eggs in one basket. So that's the reason people have majorly invested in properties abroad. I mean, everybody knows that in Dubai, Indians are one of the largest investors as an outsider. But in the last few years, a lot of other countries have also come into India, and they're looking at investors, they're looking at investments from India. As an example, we have been working with this organization from Bali. I mean, they're very, very prominent in Indonesia, and now they're looking at investments from India. The kind of rental yields these companies are offering, the kind of benefits these companies are offering, I think it's difficult for some of the Indian counterparts to manage those kind of rental yields, because in comparison to the rental yields, we're talking about residential 2%, 3% here in India, but any decent international property by a credible name, I think the rental yields are almost in the tune of 5%, 6%, and some developers have even gone on to the extent that they've offered a guaranteed return for almost 10% for a period of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years as well. Now, that is something which has given people a lot of added advantage, and probably another reason why they should invest abroad. Who are these people buying properties abroad? Major, I think, audience was ultra HNIs in the past. But today, even working professionals, some of the top professionals in organizations, and especially those guys, those business owners who have their children studying abroad, I think they're one of the biggest target markets for people wanting to invest in properties abroad. What has happened is, apart from US, apart from Canada, Europe, London, smaller destinations have pitched in. Thailand has come in big time in India, and they've been selling properties in India starting at 40 odd lakh rupees. I mean, in 40 lakhs, it's difficult to afford a property in any of the metros in the country. And at 40 odd lakh rupees, today you can afford an international property in a market like Thailand, in a market like Pattaya, which can be used as a holiday home, which can be used as a timeshare basis, and you have somebody to manage your property as well. So there are a lot of advantages which are being offered, right from rental yields, right, to some kind of an adjustment in terms of cash. I shouldn't say it in the public platform, but I mean, that's the reality which is happening, right? Then apart from that, there is somebody to manage your property. The rental yields are pretty high. Your occupancy rates, because of those destinations being holiday spots, are very, very high. So you can use that as a summer vacation home. You can use that as maybe a home for any of your friends and family who are visiting abroad. So multiple reasons are there. And today, when mortgage in India is very, very expensive, people have an option of buying a property abroad at a much lesser mortgage pricing, because we are sitting at what, somewhere around 8 to 9%. But if there is an availability of cheap mortgage, which a lot of developers are supporting at 3%, 4% while buying any foreign real estate, that gives another additional capital edge to any investor. So there are multiple reasons why people are investing abroad. But what has been the biggest change in the last couple of years is destinations other than the most prominent one like London, Dubai, the other destinations have opened up. Abu Dhabi has now come into India and they're trying to sell their properties here. Thailand has come into India, right? Indonesia has come into India. So a lot of countries are eyeing investments from India because they feel that yes, globally, we are probably the top 5 real estate markets wherein they can expect investment from ultra HNIs back in their hometown. That's it from my side for right now.
Thank you very much, Sahil, for sharing your views on this. And I'm sure you will have questions because I can see they started in the chat box. So we'll take it later. So now I would like to invite Mr. Syed Irshad Rahman, the head of sales, Damak Properties, Dubai. So just to give you a little background about Mr. Rahman, Mr. Rahman worked with the top developers in Dubai for more than 15 years in real estate. An overall sales experience of 20 plus years. He is handling multi-billionaire USD portfolios of clients from India, Europe, Africa, Far East, and other countries. Currently, he is working with Damak Properties as head of sales. Damak Properties, as we all know, is a leading developer from Middle East based in Dubai. And Damak is partners with Trump International Golf Clubs, Fendi Casa, Paramount Pictures, Versace, Kavli, and a lot more. I think Rahmanji would be touching on all those subjects. So we would like to hear a developer's perspective on this. Mr. Rahman, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Naveen. It's a pleasure to be on this platform today with a respected guest. You almost gave a background about the MAC. Am I audible? Is it clear?
Yes, very much clear.
All right. I'll just give a small brief about Damak Properties, and then I'll talk about the Damak vision about the market. Damak started in 1982 as a private developer in UAE, and our chairman, Mr. Hussein Sajwani, is a man behind this company. Today, we are one of the biggest and the largest developer in the Middle East, with more than 29,000 units delivered and around 33,000 homes is under construction at the moment. We have developed 50 million square feet plus more huge projects, which are the master development for the MAC, which is the MAC Hills and Ampere Oxygen. And we are partners with some big names like Trump International Golf Course, Versace, Rotana, Radisson, Jessica and Tiger Woods. So these are the brands which are associated with the MAC in terms of, adding their brand value to our portfolio. Coming back to the discussion, see, a lot of people, they invest in Dubai. The reason is they want to get a good return, ROI, which even today the Dubai market is giving 7 to 8%. Also, the security is the most important thing today. If you look at around the world, people, they have a lot of money, but still they have different terms of safety for the family. So people, they do come here for the safety as well. And the most important thing is the residency. Now, anyone who buys a property in Dubai worth around 100 million plus, 1 million plus, which is approximately $300,000 onwards, will be entitled for a residency for the families and themselves. Now, most of the people we have seen from India in the last 4 to 5 years are coming here because of the residency and also is a tax free. So they're going to save a lot of taxes if they start a business here, if they start working. Now, in last 1 year, coming back to the theme of this forum, a lot of people started buying it. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, so we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of people we have seen, even from the small cities from India, they started buying in Dubai. The reason is as the location of Dubai is very close to India compared to Europe, America, and Far East as well. Now it has become a second home for a lot of Indians, especially people from Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore. They all would like to have assets here in Dubai. Dubai offers a world-class living. One of the most important, reason people they invest in Dubai is because of the infrastructure, safety. These are the two important things apart from being a tax-free country. Lot of new education universities have started in Dubai. Almost from all over the world, there is a representation of the education here in Dubai. So these things make Dubai a very good place for investment, and you feel at home. Uh, there are more than 200 nationalities in Dubai. They all live here in harmony. We don't feel that we are a foreigner to this place. Apart from this, we have started in terms of investments. Coming back to one of the questions of our panelists, we have started even with the hotels for the investment, which give them a rental guarantee for initial 3 to 5 years, depending on the project. We associated ourselves with uh, chains like Radisson, which is one of the project coming up in Tamak Hills, which is our flagship project. We are associated with Paramount. The hotel is already started, where the people can buy and give a property to lease with Tamak, and they can get the returns. And time to time, we do have many offers for our clients who want to invest in Dubai and get the returns. Uh, Post-corona thing, we have seen in last 1 month there is a lot of demand for villas and townhouses in Dubai, for which even people from India can buy sitting in India because we have all the information online. Now, advantage of buying a properties here, they will get a certain return on an average, which is 7 to 8%. There are mortgage facilities also available for people from India, which they can buy up to 50% for a ready property. Having said that, not only that, but we are very much focused on other parts of the world. Africa is one of a key market. A lot of people they do buy here because of the residency. Lately, we've started in Europe. We've seen a lot of traction from Italy, US, and few other countries. So Dubai is a place, a home for everyone. We welcome everyone here. We are thankful to the vision of our His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum, who's a visionary leader. And the way we dealt Corona, it's adding value to all Dubai at the moment. We are probably one of the few countries who started so fast. We come back on track. Everyone is back to office now. So we are looking forward to a very good start again. Uh, Apart from that, we do have a few master developments, which are the Hills and Akoya Oxygen. These are the huge projects in terms of area. We do have the villas, townhouses, apartments, service apartments, also the service, fully furnished villas. The portfolio is huge. It's definitely a good time to enter in the real estate market of Dubai because the prices are very good at the moment, which is probably, frankly speaking, the properties in in India, places like Mumbai and Delhi is probably more expensive, but Dubai properties are quite affordable at the moment. This is it. I would like to thank you again, everyone, for giving me this opportunity to be with you guys today. And I'll be very happy to be in touch with all of you in future as well. Please feel free to get back to me if you have any queries. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahman, for sharing your views. And we look forward to have many more such webinars and then maybe physical event as well soon with you on.
Sure. We normally have a lot of events in India. So whenever things get normal, definitely we'll come back to Delhi, Bombay, and others. to have our own event.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now, friends, I would like to invite Mr. Anuj Sethi, the founder and managing director, AS Professional Advisory Limited, UK, who is also our webinar partner for today. So just to give you a little background about Mr. Anuj, he has an extensive experience in property finance, having worked in real estate property credit for over 7 years. He has worked at a debt fund, ICICI Bank UK and RBS. He is involved in loans with a value of between 0.1 million to 30 million pounds for residential construction, financing and lending against income producing properties across the following sector like residential offices, retail, student accommodation, hotels and warehousing. He has been involved in various transactions where investors from India have acquired properties in the UK, having previously worked at ICICI Bank. He is also keen to work with investors who are looking to acquire property from them. Currently, he is tutoring a real estate economics and finance course for a top UK university. So we would like to present to you Mr. Anuj Sethi to share his views and tell us that how raising finance for property transaction in UK. Mr. Anuj Sethi, please.
Yeah, thank you for the kind introduction. I'll load up my presentation now. So Mike, do I have to press share content again?
Mayank?
Sorry, can you see my screen?
You can see the content now. I have already made it present.
Okay, sorry, one sec. Sorry.
Yeah, it's uploading now.
Yeah, that's great, thanks. Right, can you see it?
Yeah, it says Anuj Sethi is sharing the content. I think it's gonna upload it.
Yeah.
We can see.
Yeah, that's
now
great.
we can see.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So thank you very much for the kind introduction. As articulated, I've got extensive experience in the banking sector. I'm now set up my own company. I'm looking to assist with international investors, acquire property in the UK, and I can arrange with the debt finance. I have been doing this for quite a few years now. So just to start with the presentation, I'll just start with introducing, giving a background on myself, as was just done, also articulating what I can do, and then just a couple of examples of what I've done in the past. So just starting, so yeah, experienced property finance professional. I was at ICICI Bank UK for 3.5 years. Recruited as a real estate credit specialist. The bank was looking to grow quite a lot in that sector. When I joined, the exposure was $100 million US. We managed to grow it to $500 million by the time I left. No defaults which occurred, which was a credit to us because we went through the Brexit stage. So we've seen like how the market has shifted in the UK. Just another point on that, following from Brexit, the UK has seen a lot of correction in its debt financing market post a credit crunch. In the credit crunch in 2008, LTVs were at 90% or even higher. There was a lot of losses incurred by the banks. Thereafter, the LTVs, the loan to values, have come down to about 60-65%. So these crises, like which have occurred now with Brexit and COVID-19, all that's happening is there's a tweaking of the LTVs. So there is still lending going on, and the banks aren't taking massive haircuts. It's just because a lot of the corrections has taken place after the credit crunch. So prior to my time at ICICI UK, I was at RBS for 7 years, worked in various departments, including as a credit risk sanctioner, but I worked across the board on the front line as well. Also worked at a real estate development finance debt fund, which was focused on funding developers who are looking to build multi units, primarily apartments. I have also got experience on funding single high value houses in rich and extremely valuable areas in London. At the moment, I'm also tutoring a real estate economics and finance course for the London School of Economics. It's a short finance course. I'm involved in that at the moment, which is, for me, it was a key personal aspiration. So I'm doing that at the moment. Just moving on. So the types of transactions I worked on in terms of construction financing, multi-unit schemes, so apartment blocks, high-value houses. I think in the UK at the moment, with the current situation with COVID, there is a shift towards high-value houses because people have realised that they're stuck in their houses, in their personal residences. They don't want to be stuck in two-bedroom apartments at the moment. They want to have a 3 or 4 bedroom, a 2-story house. So there is a growth in the UK in that sector. In terms of income producing properties, I've lent against residential properties, so single units, where predominantly there's been international investors, portfolios of properties, and apartment blocks. I've also done quite a lot of commercial, that being retail, high street retail parks, shopping centres. The retail sector is quite down at the moment in the UK, especially shopping centres. Office, I've done quite a lot of office blocks where there's been various tenants in the building. I think with office, it remains to be seen as to how the market will go in the UK. Warehousing, industrial, that includes logistics, distribution. This is the key growth area in the UK. It has been for the last 5 years, but I think now with COVID, it's going to grow even more with the growth of online. Student accommodation, you have university linked and also the private operators, and also hotels, where that being owner operated under names such as owner operated, leased and branded. So Travelodge, Hilton, these sort of hotel transactions have been involved in. So student accommodation, hotel, it remains to be seen as to how the market will go with them. So in terms of loan sizes, worked on loans from £100,000 to 30 million. So that's ranging from one crore upwards. I've not done the calculation for the 30. So just moving on to some, so just what I can offer. So I'm looking to assist people from India who are looking to buy properties in the UK. I can assist with raising the finance. Furthermore, also if you've actually already have a loan or a property in the UK and you want to raise finance against it, I can assist with that as well. And also on the administration side, I can assist with the administration in terms of company reporting or even speaking to some of the commercial tenants for you. Right. Just get a couple of case studies. So we're primarily focused on income producing properties at ICICI UK. So we had some investors who came from India looking to buy properties in London, say for about £1 million, looking to raise debt against it to help with the finance. Given the rental yields in London are slightly less, and also there was a concentration risk with the rental income, the bank generally looks to take a cash deposit of about 6 months finance costs. That was just to protect in case of any vacancy risk or if there's any late loan payments. Another point to pick up on is the loans are generally structured over 5 years and on affordable terms. I'm aware in India it can be for about 10 or 15 years, but the loan fully amortizes during the loan term. In the UK, with commercial real estate, you'll have a 5-year loan, but it doesn't fully amortize. So the loan payments are affordable. So your day one LTV would start at 60%. You'll be paying the interest, but also the capital payments would be staggered. So you after 5 years, your LTV based on the original value may only be 50%. So it does ease the pressure, and also there's natural growth in the UK because your rental yields could be about 5%. Your cost of finance could be about, say, 3.5%. So even on the proportion that you're raising finance against, you're actually making a profit. So that's why the UK lending and the property market has been growing for quite a long time. Just going to the next example. So also dealt with quite a few investors from India who are looking to acquire commercial properties in the UK. These were either retail units or office blocks. So these are generally more time intensive, and also because there's multiple tenants in place, it does require an asset manager to be working with the investor to speak to the tenants on a regular basis. So just to also ensure that these could go through, and because there were various leases in place, again, we looked at ICICI to take a cash deposit. This would allow the loan to be serviced in case of any potential shortfalls in the loan. However, if you manage to improve your lease profile, the deposits could be released back to the investor. So just in case of, I'm still in regular contact with some of the team at ICICI. I think the LTVs now are generally below 60, but I think that with the current situation, it could be around 55% LTV. Just moving on. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I've got my contact details here as well. If you can maybe take a photo of it. My personal mobile number. I'm available for WhatsApp messages, and also my email address and a website. Yes, and that's the end of my presentation. So any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Mr. Anuj, for sharing your views. I think in the question answer session, people will be having certain questions to ask. So thank you once again for sharing your presentation and being with us today.
Yeah,
so to take it further, now I would like to invite Mr. Kamlesh Rajput, FCCA founder and managing director of Sterling Finance UK Limited. So just to give you a little background about Kamlesh ji, Kamlesh Rajput ji founded Sterling Finance in 2001. He was also the Chief Financial Officer at SS Systems UK Limited, Managing Director of Sterling Will Writers Limited, Acting Business Consultant to Dolphin Seminars Limited, Managing Director of Qiraji on Business Limited, Governor at the Ashton Sixth Form College, External Examiner at the University of Wales, Newport, Treasurer at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Manchester, as well as the President of Gujarati Rajput Samaj, Birmingham, UK. His career started as an honorary lecturer in banking and business at the MS University, Baroda, India. In 1986, Kamlesh joined the banking sector in the areas of foreign exchange and financing import-export trade. From 1986 to 1992, Kamlesh worked in London, Birmingham, and Manchester. So I present to you Mr. Kamlesh Rajput. He will be mainly touching on the taxation aspect of international real estate. Mr. Kamlesh, please.
Very good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Can you all see my screen now? Yes?
We can see that, yes.
Okay, yes. Navinji, thank you very much for your kind words. And I'm really honored to be here today. And I'll be sharing you the taxation aspect of the real estate in United Kingdom. So let us address the one very common mistake people make is UK and London. United Kingdom has got 4 countries: Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and England. And London is merely one city in the south here. You would have heard, so this red area is England. There are some places I have highlighted. There's a Cambridge here, there's a London in southwest here, and there is Southampton, Midland, very, very popular, very densely populated. Many Asians are there, and this is the north of England, Manchester. So that is quite important to understand. Now, I'm going to share with you the taxation aspect of investing in real estate in UK. I would also like to simply share this with you, what we mean by real estate. You can buy a land, because in this country, land and building can be bought separately. You can buy land and building together. And there are 3 types of properties. One is residential, one is commercial, which is office buildings, and the other is industrial buildings. The taxation of that depends upon the type of property, but it also depends on the type of ownership. The taxation is different if the property is purchased by the individual, or is the property bought by a group of people, maybe family members or friends or the associates. And the tax is charged as per the ownership of the shares in the property. And one of the most efficient way of investing in real estate is to incorporate a limited company. So these are the taxes which will happen during the process of buying and selling the property. So the first one is stamp duty, land tax. So every time you buy the property as a buyer, you have to pay percentage of stamp duty. There are different laws in Scotland. There are different laws in Wales and Northern Ireland as well. This is a one-off tax at the point of purchasing the property. It also depends on the type of property and the value of the property. So your stamp duty land tax can be 3%, 4%, 5%, 8%, 13 or 15, depending upon the value of the property. The second type of tax which you will pay is income tax. So the income tax is charged if the property is owned by the individual or the partners, whereas corporation tax is charged if the property is owned by limited company. So these tax charge on the rental profit of the company, and it is paid annually. Now, it is very, very tax efficient to buy the real estate in the name of limited company because the tax is only 19%. However, if the investment in real estate and property is purchased by individual, your tax can be 20%, 40%, or 50%, depending on your total earning. Another tax, and many people get caught out, and our friend Anuj will know very well that many times people do not estimate or make provision for VAT. Some properties, there is a VAT, and it's a very complex tax regime in UK when it comes to real estate. So it is generally exempt. But there are some properties that you have to pay VAT at the time of a purchase, and VAT in United Kingdom is 20%. The next tax is capital gain tax. Capital gain tax arises when you sell the property. When you sell the property, the capital gain tax can be 28%, 38%, depending upon your status, taxation status. And it also depends the use of the property. If you buy the property and if you live in the property for a certain period of time, there are certain exemptions. The next one is inheritance tax. I get many cases like this, that parents, they buy the property and sometimes something happens to parents, one of them departs from this world, and the share or the entire property passed on to the children. Inheritance tax is very unforgiving at 40%. This can be avoided, absolutely this can be avoided if a careful tax planning is in place. The next one is a business rate tax. So this is when we in India we may call it as a house tax or housing tax. So every year the local authority charges you these rates, which covers like policing, fire, the cleaning and road services, all the services provided by the local government. So this business rate, for the small businesses, many of them are exempt, but the rate is still there. And it is very important when you make a real estate investment that you buy the property, you find out which area has got either zero business rate or there is a concessionary business rate. We also need to know, there are 4 teams in the process of buying the property. One is a seller. Seller will not sell you property directly. Seller will involve estate agent who will fight the corner for the seller in order to get more and more value for the property. And seller will have to appoint a solicitor to sell the property. The process of selling the property, it is also known as conveyancing, which cannot be done by individuals. It is a legal process, so the lawyers are involved on both the sides. Second team involved is yourself as a buyer. You will have your own solicitor. You will also need your accountant and your tax consultant. The third agent who is arranging the finances for you. And there is ultimate lender who is going to lend you that money. But the lender will have its own legal team who is going to write the terms and conditions for the loans. And that is another process that sometimes takes time. And the fourth group of people which are involved in the transaction is HM Revenue. The tax department in United Kingdom is known as Her Majesty's Revenues and Customs. We call it HMRC in a short form. They collect all the taxes. And your bank, where you are going to collect the rent, it is possible, and it's very, very common that your lender bank is different than your operational bank. And the last party is company's house. If you are going to incorporate a private limited company, there is one national organization in United Kingdom where all the incorporations are managed and handled and reported, is known as company's house. Some of the important factors I like to summarize here is that London is a city, not a country. So when you make an investment or when you do your searches, you will see so many reports and news and blogs, and they mention London. London is a very, very congested city, very multicultural and very cosmopolitan and overcrowded. So there are certain reports which are relevant to London city, but it may not be relevant for the rest of the United Kingdom. The second thing you need to consider very carefully is the location of the property. Is it in England? Is it in Wales? Is it in Scotland or Northern Ireland? The property price may be different and the tax will vary as well. You also need to be very clear about your investment. Would you like to invest in residential property, industrial property, or a commercial office space? The most crucial decision at the time of making real estate investment is, would you like to buy it personally in your personal name, or 2 or 3 family members or friends or associates, or would you like a limited company? Limited company is the most tax efficient and pays only 19% tax. Financing of real estate is another crucial thing, that there are so many frontline bank. In India, we call it schedule bank. Here we call it clearing banks. They are not designed for real estate, but they do lend to real estate, but they are very picky and choosy. There are separate specialist lenders for the real estate. Look out for them. And who is a lender is quite important. And is the lender, there are various types of lenders as well for various sectors as well. For example, if you are a manufacturer, if you are buying a manufacturing property, there are specialist lender for the manufacturers as well. You also have to have a clear strategy. It needs to, property, real estate, we all know, is a long-term investment. So there is no quick fix on it. So you do have to be patient about that. And you also have to have clear strategy, which area you want to buy the property. And one of the things I like to reiterate here is, as an investor, you may be looking into various countries in Europe, maybe in US as well. But London has a most tax efficient, transparent, a safer place to invest as well, and very good growth. It is a investment philosophy: higher the risk, higher the profit. So you have to balance the security versus the profit. The taxes are paid one-off, like stamp duty, land tax, quarterly or annually. Be careful about the local taxes and national tax. And investment in real estate is a teamwork. You need a funding advisor, you need a tax advisor, and you also need a legal advisor. On this note, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity and sharing your afternoon with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Qiraji, for sharing your views. And I am sure that there are certain questions which we will request you to address later on. So till now, all the panelists who have been there, we are discussing about the challenges and opportunities for international real estate investments, financing, the taxation part. So now I would like to invite our friend Mr. Nimit Soni, the director from Virtual MNC, who is basically with a background from the exhibitions and event sector. And during the current global pandemic, who has been trying to come up with certain virtual platforms where we can showcase our exhibitions and conferences and B2B events. So I would like to invite Nimit and request him to share the virtual perspective, what he feels on this. Nimit Soni, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nimit, please go on.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was facing some issue. Okay, I hope my voice is clear.
Yes, it is very clear.
First of all, thank you for introducing me, and thank you, PhD, for inviting me over to talk on the virtual perspective on the real estate. Good evening, everyone. I am Nimit Soni, and I represent Virtual. So before we can discuss how a virtual event platform can benefit global real estate players, I would like to briefly introduce myself. So for the last 12 years, I've been handling our family business legacy of over 65 years by the name of Parasol Studio, and we are pioneers in the country. And I'm myself third generation in our family run brick and mortar to provide infrastructure services for different scales of events from small to really large ones. Our business has very, very important role during any large scale exhibition, conference, or government summits in the country before COVID-19 time. We have been primarily providing infrastructure and other services on turnkey basis for physical events. In the last 65 years, we have never ever seen such a time when there are no physical events happening. So keeping in mind the COVID-19 times, we wanted to change as per the current situation, and we have added value from our traditional brick and mortar system with online events platform. So we have developed a new platform. So before I take you through this platform, I will take you through some images. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes,
it is visible. If you can make it full screen, that will look better.
It is full screen. It is full screen. Again, wait.
Yeah, perfect.
Is it showing as full screen to you?
Yes.
Okay, so before COVID-19, this was a time like this is how the event used to happen. So the hall where the session is happening, and you can see so many people are sitting, and people are walking around. A physical infrastructure event which has been created. People are taking pictures. Registration is taking place outside the exhibition hall. Prime Minister Summit, an event in Russia. Everyone is taking pictures together. an event for Kendra Vidyalaya where all the students are gearing up for their performances. More than 6,000 students participated in this event. Prime Minister taking pictures with the other world leaders, addressing to the audience of over 3,500 people, taking pictures with world leaders. International Solar ASEAN Summit, Solar Alliance. So these are the thing of a past for time being. During COVID times, we thought that let's make best of our time and resources, and let's pledge not to and do some. So what we can do for global real estate players, we can connect clients, present them your projects, help people make their choices for real estate. How it is possible? So this is our platform. What are the advantages of using an online virtual platform? You can engage participants in real time. There's no software required. You can measure engagement and return on investment. You can customize your own venue. The attendees can access the event from any of the devices and across the globe. There's no commuting which is required. So primarily, these are the three services which we offer, but I will quickly jump to some snapshots. So for example, this is your virtual event lobby. So I can actually take you through the live demo also, but today we have. So this is a snapshot of a virtual event lobby. This lobby is entirely customizable. You can have your project's branding here. You can talk about, you can have a welcome video message which could talk about your projects, or a group of builders can come together and participate. Expo. So all these things are possible. Few more designs of the lobby. There's a live information desk wherein you can ask live questions if you have sample of the lobby design. So as you are actually going to the live event, you'll be feeling the live as you're. So for example, you're inside the hall, you're attending a session, or like how we are doing, it is possible to attend a session in this hall. So for example, you've got so for example, when we talk about UK or Dubai, so one hall could be, focusing on Dubai, the other could be focusing on London, the other could be focusing on probably on Singapore. So all these things are possible, and basis on each focus sector of the region, we can focus on projects. It is possible to do one by points. So one is the video, the other is a product brochures. We can also do one-to-one in this platform. You don't need any external application to do interaction. Possible to schedule a call. Appointment is possible to do. It is possible to chat. So whatever were the features of a physical event, we have tried to on platform. You can scroll through different booths. These booths could be different. So for example, you could talk about one of. So for example, when we talk about DMAC from Dubai, so this could be one of the projects. This could be other project. This could be other project. This could be other project. So based on each project, you can have a sales representative marketing that project when you do exhibition on platform. So this was from the front end. So from the back end, if you see, you can actually access the exhibitor dashboard wherein you can see how many documents were seen, how many documents were downloaded, how many logged in users were there, how many live users were there, how to do video call with one-to-one with the buyer. So all are possible. So before the clock strikes 4 o'clock, Mr. gives a. I will just run a quick video. This even. I'll just do that. So this is of a event which we did for economics.
The video is not audible, and now we can see it because of the bandwidth
I hope the video was visible.
Yeah, Nimit, it was, but I think there is if you can share the link of this video with all, that will be more appropriate.
Okay, I think there was a lag in the video because of WebEx. So, yeah. So basically, through a platform, you can have a 3D experience of a event, and you market your projects to the prospective clients across the globe. And it's a very easy and simple approach, and it's cost too. And if you have any queries, you can just write to me, and I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you, Naveenji, for inviting me over. I hope you all of you find it useful for your projects to market them to target audience.
Thank you very much, Nimit, for sharing this, and I am sure this is the new coming which everybody would be interested in. And as we have been discussing, we will be coming up with our GRACE, GRE Global Real Estate and Citizenship Expo, which will be in August. So I will request, yeah, this is the event which we are planning. This will be on the same platform what Nimit was just showing. So this will be in August, and we will be sharing more details with all of you and request you all to participate in this and attend this event. So thank you very much to all for sharing your views. And I think now the floor is open for question and answer. So we have already a lot of questions in the chat box which we have seen. So before that, I would like to invite Mr. Surinder Kalra, who is our co-chairman for International Affairs Committee for Gulf. And I invite him to share his views and also ask his question. Mr. Surinder Kalra, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. You can hear me?
Sir, we can hear you and see you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. In fact, Naveenji, I'm really thankful to you for such a wonderful invite at the last moment. I'm going to speak extempore. I don't have a PPT to immediately share with the audience, but I really liked the PPT of Damak, Mr. Ershad, Mr. Anuj Sethi, and Mr. Kamlesh Rajput. They were very good. And what the fourth gentleman has shown, that was also something new, the virtual AR, VR thing. That was very good. Now, I would introduce myself. We are a firm of chartered accountants, 40 years of experience, and we have been working for real estate companies and consultancy companies like CBRE and JLL. We have handled a lot of projects in the real estate in Chennai called Tidal Park, and then in Kolkata and Delhi, Noida, and even Gurgaon. We have dealt with international companies also, and almost all the aspects what Mr. Anuj Sethi and Kamlesh ji were telling, the taxation part being chartered accountant, and now there are certain niche areas which our firm handles, which I would like to coordinate with Irshad ji, Anuj ji on. We handle there are a lot of cases coming up nationally, domestically, in the domestic market as well as in the international market on arbitration and mediation in the real estate sector. And so if there are anything, we can help you on those things. And one new thing which we have learned, the real estate companies in China, there is a province 350 kilometers south of Shanghai called Jiangsu. There are a lot of real estate companies there. As far as the technology and other things are concerned, they are very much using the high-end IT thing called blockchain in construction, as well as for Mr. Anuj for giving or getting them bank loans for real estate purposes. The blockchain is a technology in which it's a public key and a private key where they can work. It can help the real estate companies to finish their projects in time. And online, even the investors can see what is the progress in their project. Similarly, Anuj can get help in blockchain, particularly if where is the loan, the KYC things, and Irshad ji can also get help for KYC of people who are investing in their projects. So we can coordinate with the two gentlemen here as far as blockchain, IT things are concerned, and as well as the arbitration. I don't think that legal cases should come up, but it is inherent in real estate. There are a lot of real arbitration and mediation cases coming up. This is what I wanted to tell you. But real estate at the moment, as far as in India it is concerned, we have seen that mortar and cement buildings, they're lying vacant. WeWork has had a big loss because people are not going there, and occupancy is almost 50%. Maybe after the lockdown and everything, it will take little time for the real estate sector to pick up now. And even the malls and other things are opening slowly, and the government guidelines are really very strict as far as distancing are concerned. It will take little time for the real estate sector, both residential and commercial, to come up as far as COVID-19 is concerned in India. But I think in GCC countries, the people have taken, the governments have taken strict steps, and I think it will come up much faster than what may come up in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Qiraji, for sharing your views. So, Irshadji, would you like to comment on what Mr. Kalra mentioned?
Contact him after this event to discuss it further. I mean, I would like to share my contact details with him as well. And definitely, we probably need him sometimes in terms of arbitrations and all. I'll keep in touch on that.
Thank you.
Kamleshji, your comments on this?
I would very much like to work with Mr. Kalra and the rest of the panel. Here in UK, what we've seen is that there is a shortage. For last 20 years, UK has a shortage of housing. And this has been the reason why the property market has continuously grown. Whenever the property market seems to have gone down, it is only because the players in the market, for example, lenders are not preparing to lend the money. So the demand for the mortgage is, dampened. However, the real fact on the ground is there is a shortage of housing in this country. There is also a shortage of commercial properties here as well. And what we find that because the property tax is a very complex tax, only certain individuals come into the market. If they come and they get the right team together, right good expert, then they really, really create a good wealth in a very, very short time as well.
Thank you, Kamleshji. So I think now I would like to invite Mr. Vivek Agarwala from the attendees. He has certain questions to Mr. Rahman. So Mayank, can you unmute Mr. Vivek Agarwala? Vivekji, you can ask your question. Mr. Rahman, I think Mr. Vivek has just left, so he has put certain questions in the chat box.
Yeah, I think it's mainly about the price drop in Dubai residential compared to pre-COVID in December 2019. I think it's too early to talk about price drop in Dubai because we are still under COVID now. And frankly speaking, in my company demand, we don't have such any drop in the prices, except we have some promotions from time to time. We do, have it for our clients. In general, yes, I think overall Dubai, there is probably around 5% to 10%, which could be one of, a drop, but overall things are okay at the moment.
Okay. And his another question was, which country would be more lucrative between Dubai and Mauritius post-COVID to invest in residential property from rental return point of view?
I always, will answer it as Dubai because Dubai is, I feel, the best place to live and invest. Because first of all, it's again tax-free. I've been to Mauritius many times. Yes, there are a lot of hotels entirely depending on the tourism. But Dubai, if you look at it, they've got many things, which is definitely a security, lifestyle, tax-free, close to India, very accessible. Basically you feel like it's an extended part of India. Within 2 to 3 hours, you come land in Dubai. So definitely, again, it's Dubai. The returns are much lucrative in Dubai than Mauritius. Mauritius is mainly, even if you buy a villa, I don't think, or an apartment, it's quite expensive compared to Dubai. So with the same amount of money, you can multiple investment and double the ROI.
Good. I think other questions already, Anuj has already replied to Mr. Vivek on the investment either in London or in Portugal. He has already reverted to him. So I think I would like to invite Mr. Vikram Doshi. He has asked certain questions. So Mayank, can you unmute Mr. Vikram Doshi?
Yes.
Vikram Doshi.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Hi. So my question is actually pretty self-explanatory. While the real estate, international real estate is fairly attractive and varied locations, and an esteemed panel of speakers here that I see offering locations from varied markets. Of course, in my opinion, obviously UK seems to be one of the most balanced, safe, and a really sought after location. I'm just curious. And my question is to Krypton Investments for Mona Jalota. And just wondering, is there any still potential considering UK as it's a known location to be an expensive location? So would a small investor also have options to choose from in the UK? And if yes, what sort of ticket size are we looking at, or the values are we looking at? And along with that, what benefits one can expect? Thank you.
So Vikram, yes, like one of the panelists earlier explained, UK has a lot of different countries, and London is just one of the capital city in England. So is there a price point that is attractive for a first-time investor in the UK? Absolutely. Are you going to get an apartment in prime central London as a first-time buyer with a limited budget? I doubt it. But there are several other locations in the north of England or in Wales, in Scotland, in many areas where you would have a starter apartment for as low as 80 lakh Indian rupees. Definitely these, come under the purpose-built accommodation sector, as we call it, and usually you would find students' apartments or care homes in this particular genre. But yes, for a first-time investor with a limited budget, UK has a lot of options to offer. And also, you're right, UK is a very stable market. It's been a mature real estate market from several decades. And for any first-time buyer, I would highly recommend that, if you can get over your cultural affinity to Dubai. So when an Indian thinks of buying overseas, the first thing he thinks is, okay, let me try Dubai. If you're a mature investor and you want to try another stable market, then of course, UK is a very good option for you as well. I hope I've answered your question.
Okay. Thank you.
So, sorry, could I just add there that also this has been shown with like COVID,
Yes.
and also even after Brexit and all the other crises in the UK, the UK for the economy, property finance, bank lending, the lawyers, it's a big market in the City of London. It generates a lot of tax for the government, so the government's always looking to get the property market going. So even one of the first things the government did as part of lockdown was the estate agents opened. They need this market to keep going. So the banks, a lot of banks, even when there's a crisis in the UK, because of the UK bank enforcement laws, more lenders keep coming to the UK market because they're confident they can get their money back. So the market is always rotating. There's always stuff going on in the UK. So even though there are crises across the world, people generally come to London to try and put their money into it. It's almost seen as a safe haven. So that's why in London you might get a rental yield of 4%, but in the north you might get 8 or 9%. It's a risk game, but there's a lot of money coming to the UK, and the UK is always open for business. So you should feel confident to invest in the UK, I think.
Okay, I just have one more question for Mona, if you don't mind. Considering I'm an Indian national citizen, could I also avail mortgage services in the UK?
So that's a very interesting question. I know we have a lot of panelists who are experts in this, but I'll just try to give you my impartial two bits to it. RBI guidelines clearly state that an Indian investor cannot avail of a mortgage to purchase a property in the overseas markets. That is very categorically said by the RBI. However, I think the main decision here for you as an investor to make is, so there are ways that you can avail of a mortgage. There are many ways that I'm sure Nimit and the other panelists here will be more than able to help you out with, company formation, structured mortgage products, etc., etc. But I think what, as an investor, you need to keep in mind is the cost benefit analysis. If you're a first time investor and if you're taking a smaller apartment, then perhaps the monies that are required for a company formation and to keep the company running to avail of a mortgage may not be that worth it for you. But if it's a high value transaction, then that could be worth it for you. So it totally depends on what is the price point of the property you're buying. Many of my investors are preferring to go for under construction properties, which have a 3 to 5 year payment horizon. So they can, plan their payments as per the LRS limits. So that would be an easier way to go by if you're a first time investor looking at a smaller ticket size. So that's my two bits to you.
Okay, thank you.
Kamlesh, you would like to have your views on this? You need to unmute, sir.
Thank you for the question. We have managed to help many investors, and what we have seen that those investors, they have one thing common, that they are entrepreneurs themselves. So funding is a less issue for them. However, those who are seeking the funding, I'm sure Anujji will also share that yes, it is possible to get the funding here. The loan to value, what Anujji mentioned, LTV, is 60% maximum. There were days before 2008 that bank used to lend money up to 90% of the value of the property, or sometimes 100%. Those days are gone. So the banks are ring fence their risk, and they would not be happy to lend more than 60%. But I would also acknowledge Monaji's point as well. If you want to invest, look outside the London. There are many properties, there are many developments also coming up, and look out economic zones as well, because economic zones are specially selected by the government where there are lots of tax breaks are there. So that is one way. Also, if you do not have the full money, then I think you could get into a partnership with one of the UK citizen or a friend that you have. And I think over the period of time, you can buy him or her out. That's a possibility.
Okay.
Navinji, here I would just like to add one more thing. As Kamleshi rightly put it, that there are ways, rightful, legal, legit ways of acquiring a property, availing of mortgage financing. My advice to all the attendees here who are thinking of investing with a mortgage is to contact one of these experienced people. Like Kamlesh has given a brilliant idea right now. You may find a very, very customized solution to match your needs. Go with the rightful partners is what I would like to say.
Thank you.
Sorry, just as well, yeah, as Kamlesh just said, and also Mona, that there are various ways of doing it. The market for investment is a lot more fluid. Owner occupation in the UK, there's a lot more regulation, because if it goes into stress, the bank doesn't want to be kicking someone out of their property. That's where the bank tends to be. In terms of structuring, the way that UK tax laws have changed, it's actually more beneficial to buy a property in a limited company as opposed to your personal name, because you'll be charged. The tax will be higher in a personal name. As a result, you'll also get more debts against a limited company. So while there might be a slightly more added cost, I think generally the benefit is outweighing the cost at the moment to buying a limited company. In the past, I've seen people buy it mainly for investment purposes, where they rent out the properties, but also businesses are buying properties in the UK that can be commercial. So there are various options available. So I think as a team we can get together, and if you've got any questions, just reach out to us and we can look at a structure for you.
May I just add one more last thing, Navinji?
Yeah, please come.
I'd like to share that we all have one thing common, and that's the Indian DNA, and we don't take no for an answer. So we find the solution, and I think we are very good at that. I have never come across a problem that is brought to us and we haven't found the solution. The solution may not be the one that you originally would have sought or would have been thinking, but we do find a solution. And Monaji, I thank you for reiterating the point. You need to get in touch with the right, knowledgeable, competent partner who can help you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think there is some issue with the network at Mr. Naveen Seth's side. I would request everybody to just give a quick sum up as to the discussion we had today. Starting with Ms. Jalota, I would request you, ma'am, give a quick sum up as for investment in the international market.
Okay, so my summation for this entire panel today, and whatever we've spoken is, diversification is the need of the hour. Don't shy away from it. Be a smart investor. Put your money in different currencies. Property is a great way to diversify into international markets. Understand what is your requirement of a property first. Are you buying it as a holiday home for self-use? Are you buying it for your child who may soon go to that country to study abroad? Are you buying it as a pure investment? Once you have your mind clear on the purpose of buying that property, regardless of the fact that you want to diversify, I think there can be many attractive options and rightful solutions given to you. And of course, like I said earlier, partner with the correct people. Every solution is not generic. It has to be customized as per your situation. So talking it out with relevant partners is extremely important. And all I would say is, this is a vertical here which is only set to grow. This line of investment is only going to grow higher, and be a part of it and enjoy the benefits over a period of time. So that's my summation for this panel.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would also request Sahil to give his view on this as well, because we are yet to hear from him. Of course, the question that were asked. Sahil, please, over to you.
Thank you, man. I think one of the things which people need to take care of while buying an international property is that which country are they going to be buying that international property? Do they have any business connect over there? Do they have any family connect over there? How close is that particular country from the home country in which they operate out of? Then you need the right consultants to guide you right, because the process is complicated, right? There could be different laws, which could be very, very different from what your home country can have. The developers could have different payment plans. Mortgage, as everybody suggested and decided, that could be a little complicated from what your home country would offer. Third, there are many other new destinations which are right now available on the offer. Southeast Asia is one destination. As I said, Indonesia is coming in, Sri Lanka is coming in. We have a lot of properties from Thailand which have been coming in, and they offer a pretty low ticket size, starting with as low as 40 lakh rupees. Somebody who cannot afford a property worth 1 crore or above, they could definitely look at these more affordable options. Of course, you have to go with a credible developer. You have to look at the developer's background, because sitting at a remote place in India, you would not be completely aware about who you're buying with. So it's very important to have a reliable consultant involved who has a presence both in the Indian market and the foreign market. Somebody who can guide you right with your hard-earned money. And right now, is the time right? I think there is no wrong time to buy real estate, whether in India, whether abroad. Property is going to go expensive, irrespective. The demand is increasing, the supply is limited. As far as the pricing is concerned, Indian properties are equally expensive as foreign real estate is. So people who are thinking of looking at international properties as an option, I think the time is right. The developers are giving the best possible offers because the global economy, everybody is under a little bit of stress. So this could be used as an opportunity, and this adversity can be converted into some opportunity which you can leverage for your own self-use. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Thank you, Sahil, for sharing your views. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ishad Rahman to give his concluding remarks. Sir, you need to unmute.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Right. It's a time to diversify your portfolios, definitely. If you have properties back in India, they should explore the new ventures and explore new markets, especially a place like Dubai, where it's still giving 7 or 8% compared to 3 or 4% in India. And also, Dubai has got a lot of things to offer in terms of the lifestyle, the infrastructure. So these things attract a lot of people for investments. And then also the very important point about Dubai, if Dubai is the currency is pegged to dollars. Now, if you look at the dollar conversion in India, it's going high every month, every year. Here in UAE, the dollars are pegged to dirham, so you should have your portfolio in international currency as well, which is in USDs. I totally agree with Mona. What she said is absolutely right. You need to find out what exactly you want. You need to find out which developers you can work with. Working with a very good developer in terms of investing with them is very important because only an experienced developer wherever in the world can manage the things properly. It's not only building a property but also post completion, the way we have to manage the properties as well. Joining an international brand definitely get you more appreciation in terms of returns. That's proven all over the world. Whenever you are associated with any international brand, whether it's fashion, cars, or any other thing, your property value goes up. So this is one of the reason also a lot of people they invest in Tamac. I definitely recommend people from India or all over the world to look at what we have and talk to us. I'm very thankful to all of you to inviting me for this forum and hope to keep in touch with all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a quick question, Mr. Ishad, DMAC UK or DMAC Dubai? Which one should invest in?
Sorry, Dubai?
DMAC UK or DMAC Dubai?
I'm from Dubai.
No, which one should invest in? Because you have properties in both the areas now.
Yeah, we do sell also UK. See, Dubai is selling. Dubai, we sell everything. We have projects wherever we have, we sell it.
Great, sir.
Mayank, as an impartial third party.
Yes, ma'am, please.
So as an impartial third party where I deal with all developers, I can tell you that DMAC Dubai, of course, is a very large player, but the DMAC 9M's project in London is just stunning. So I would encourage people to look at both jurisdictions, and I am completely impartial. I work with all developers. So this is just a tip from me to the investors.
I hope
Thank you so much, Mona. I'll get in touch with you post this event and we can discuss more on it.
Thank you, Shadi. So I invite Anuj to give his concluding remarks now, please. Mr. Anuj.
Okay, so yes, I think been some great insights on from throughout the panel. Plenty of great questions coming in. Yeah, I think there is an opportunity in the market to buy properties at a discount to what they had been trading at. So if you're willing to be bold and go for it, I think you can generate. There is a potential to generate a profit in the future. I think also, as Mona said, each person's situation is unique. So you really need to speak to various people and develop a customized solution for yourself. So there's myself, I can help with structuring the loan aspects. Kamlation in Greater Manchester, he can help with the legal structure. So there are various people at play here who can help you get the right solution to buy the type of property that you actually require.
Thank you, Anuj. I see Mr. Kalra wants to ask something. Yeah, Mr. Kalra. You need to unmute, sir.
I have a suggestion for Anuj and Shadi that most of my clients, when they are in a position that in a mode to invest overseas, say into property or real estate there, they are in a mode to swap their properties. They want to sell some of the property in India, which may be an old ancestral property, and then use that money and take help of friends like Anuj to invest in some real estate new property in GCC country. So I would request that it is only the second leg which Anuj and Itzad they are taking care. The first leg also, if they have some contacts in India, that they want to swap their properties. It is not that they want to one adding. Suppose they already have 4 properties, they want to add one more in Dubai. Particularly, I have seen most of my clients they want to swap their properties. If that window can also be opened up and help them to take care of the globe and umbrella sort of a thing, that they understand that the entire gamut of the transaction is taken care.
Well, you mean, you mean to say that they want to exchange the properties from India to Dubai?
No, they don't want to exchange. They want to swap it in the sense they want to sell the property in India and then use that money somewhere in investing in Dubai or in other country. Take help of Anuj also to pull the money.
Yes, see, selling the property in India, you know the way how to sell it. Coming back to transfer the money to Dubai, you have LRS, which is by RBI. That is $250,000 per annum. Now, when they buy a ready property in Dubai, we do have the payment plan, which goes for 2 or 3 years. Yes. So they can take the help of payment plan. This is without interest. So they can sell the property. They have 2 years time to pay the money, right? $250,000 is close to $1 million dirham a year. So within 2 years, they can finish 2 million dirham property. And that applies for each family member. So if there are 3 family members who've got $250,000 each, they can put $750,000 a year. So this can be solved easily. It's not an issue.
No, that is what I'm telling. Such transactions should be taken care.
It is taking care. I mean, these things are happening. The chartered accountants and the bank, they plays an important role. Obviously, there are taxations back in India where they have to clear everything. And I don't think you need to justify as long as you pay $250,000 to buy a property outside India. It's allowed.
Yeah.
And just another thing also, if you said they've got, sorry, please.
Yeah. So, Qiraji, I'll just like to add one more thing. I completely understand where you're coming from. This is a challenge which I face a lot as well, where the clients say, look, I have a huge property portfolio in India. Is it possible for me to get, liquidate this portfolio and then invest it overseas? And I know your intention is to understand whether there are NRI connections that our esteemed panelists have in their jurisdictions who may be interested in purchasing some properties in India, and whether they can play a role of a mediator in such situations. Exactly. So just to clarify, this was what Mr. Kalra meant. And sir, I would just like to add in one more thing that, although this would be an ideal situation, but in my experience of a decade of working with various partners internationally, they probably would not like to get into the transactional aspect of real estate. Sure, if they are friends and they know somebody is looking out for a property, they would, refer the client just like that to you. But transactionally, they would probably focus more on which is their core competency, which is structuring and understanding how to make a successful transaction in their jurisdiction happen. But we have a very strong network of Indian Brokers Association. And Qiraji, whenever you have a case like that, please do call me up. I'm sure within me, Sahil, all of us, we have enough brokers who will help your clients liquidate their Indian portfolio.
Thank you.
And sorry, can I just add? I think another way to think of it is if they got existing property in India, can they get a loan against that property to raise the finance? and it gives you more liquidity. So that's another option. So there are options available.
That is disallowed by the RBI. I would just like to say that here. You cannot take a mortgage on your Indian property to use those funds to, participate in an overseas acquisition.
Okay.
That is clearly disallowed.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think thank you very much, Anuj and Monaji. I now invite Mr. Kamlesh Rajput to give his concluding remarks.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I like to be very simple in saying, take a balanced view. Your investment needs to be safe and it needs to grow. And you need to balance what type of property, but also which country, which region, the economic condition, the political stability, and the financial strength of the region is quite important as well. You also need to be very clear about the many investors do a lot of due diligence about the property and the funding, but they pay little attention about the due diligence of the engaging partner which they are working with. It is quite important that your engaging partner is competent, knowledgeable, and ethical to make sure that your investment advice is absolutely impartial. So that's what I would suggest, that make sure that you have a right team with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Kamlesh ji. So just before we conclude, Nimit, you have something to say as conclusion?
Thank you, Naveen ji, for having me here, and I hope that my presentation was useful for everyone. Basically, through this platform, you can market your clients, prospective clients across the globe, without any, without any difficulties of traveling or commuting, and you also don't have to travel. And in case of you, if you need to have a live demo, you can just send me an email. I've sent my email address in the chat box, and my team can schedule a live demo for you, and we can discuss all the integrated features in detail once we do the live demo. Thank you once again for having me here.
So thank you very much. So before we conclude, I would like to, on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, thank one and all for being with us today. Though the Honorable Prime Minister was addressing there, but still I can see we have 40 people with us. So business has to go on. So this is what I think I take it that way. So thank you very much. Thank you, Anuj ji. Thank you, Kamlesh ji. Thank you, Shadi. Thank you, Mona. Thank you, Sahil. And thank you, Nimit. Thank you very much, Qiraji, for being with us. And we look forward to have more sessions with you. In 10 days, I think there's a second time, Kamlesh ji, we are having the session together. Mona ji, we have been doing it. So I think regularly every 2 weeks, we'll be having these kind of sessions. And soon the exhibition, which Nimit was mentioning, we'll be doing it in August and want to have participation from you all in that. Thank you very much once again for being with us, and look forward to have more meetings with you, and be safe and be healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.